G'day folks, I'm Brendan Gordon from the City of Albany. I'm the Community Emergency Services Manager, and we're going to discuss today all things fire related in the home. So we'll give you a few tips and pointers. So a couple of the topics we'll be talking on is fire extinguishers, fire blankets, charging of electrical equipment, heater safety, and a couple of other topics, and we'll give you a couple of demonstrations outside as well. All right folks, we're going to talk about smoke alarms, really important in home fire safety. You should be aware of where your smoke alarms are in your residence, whether it be college or in boarding houses or in commercial premises. A lot of the smoke alarms nowadays are hardwired. This is an example of a battery operated only smoke alarm, but the basics are still the same. So they'll detect smoke and you'll hear a noise which is fairly loud, and that indicates that there is smoke around. There is a bit of maintenance to do with these ones though, so we'll need a vacuum cleaner and a broomstick. So to clean the smoke alarm, simple, turn your vacuum cleaner on, put it up to your smoke alarm here, and just getting all the dust and cobwebs and that sort of thing off it, making sure it's clean. The other one is, these are mounted up on the ceiling, so that's your bracket. So to pull it off the ceiling, you just twist the smoke alarm slightly and it'll come off its brackets, and you can actually see the back of the smoke alarm now, which has got the 9-volt battery. So these should be replaced at least once a year, so you just clip them out. That's the battery that you're after, and then the new battery goes in, slides in like that, and then you can put it back up onto your bracket by finding the appropriate little slots and then a little twist, and then that's done. You've got a couple of buttons on the front here. One of them's to test and one of them's to hush. So if you do hear that the smoke alarm's chirping a bit, going off every now and again, it's probably indication that you need to change your battery. So once again, just unclipping it, take the battery out and put a new one in. Also, we've got a test button here, which we hold in, and the easy way is to grab your broomstick and you just hold it up into the test button. So on this one here, I'll just fire off the test button. So you need to press it in and hold, and that's the sound that you'll hear from the smoke alarm, which is also the sound if there is a fire in your house. That's how loud they'll be. So it's really quite loud, and you have to really get going. Once you start hearing this chirping off, you really need to take it serious and enact your home safety plan. Another important factor in home fire safety is charging of all our electrical devices. We'll all have iPads, we've got our laptops, of course our mobile phones and that sort of thing. So really want to just touch base on how to charge safely. So with your phones and that sort of thing, there is a tendency to charge them and leave them on your bedside, on your cushions or anything like that. So basically, we need to charge all our appliances on non-flammable surfaces, so hard surfaces like bench tops, wooden areas. Even carpet is flammable, so the risk with these devices is heating up. So if we leave it on the cushion like that and the phone heats up, then it can actually catch the cushion on fire, and likewise with our iPads and that sort of thing as well. The other important thing is we're all got power boards. So overloading a power board, so having too many devices hooked up to a power board can cause fires. So if you are going to buy a power board, make sure they've got a switch here, which is a cut-off switch. So if there's any fault from these cords here, this device will shut off and won't power to the rest of the devices. So just be careful of how many points you put on, the rating of the power board, and not to overload it. dusting them off, making sure they're clean. The other one is with your phone cables, making sure you inspect the phone cables and making sure they're not frayed and showing any wires, because that can also cause fires. All right, we're here to talk about heaters, and they come in all forms. We've got a bar heater here, oil heaters, fireplaces, and another big cause of fires in the home is by leaving flammable materials too close to your heating source. So, typical example, we've got a clothes rack here. We want to dry our clothes in winter. However, we need to be at least 1 metre away from this heater to avoid any risk of house fires. So we've got 1 metre here, a distance of 1 metre, and that way the clothes will still dry, but they won't be impacted by the heater itself. So there's one important message that we want to put across, that with heaters, any sort of heaters, make sure they're shut down when you're going to leave the place. So if it's a fire heater, turn it down, vent it off. Oil heaters and bar heaters like this, just simply turn them off. And that way we've got no risk of ignition in the house. All right, we've got a couple of really fun little toys here that are becoming really popular and fantastic use of getting around. So we've got e-scooters and an e-bike. The problem with these two things are the batteries. So charging the batteries in here, they're lithium-ion batteries, so we've just got to be careful about how we actually charge these batteries and not leave them unattended. So if they've got a charging time of 2 hours, we really need to be around while it's actually charging. The concern with the overcharging of these batteries is once they actually start getting to 100%, then they start to heat up, and fires in the garages and in homes are becoming more prevalent because of the lithium-ion batteries. Here to talk about fire extinguishers and fire blankets now. Two pretty important pieces of equipment if we do have a fire in your households. So a fire extinguisher looks like this, generally red and different coloured bands, but basically if you look at the pictures down here, the green pictures, this dry powder chemical one will do rubbish fires, fuel fires and electrical. The most common is the dry powder for house fires. However, with electricity and water, they don't mix, so there is water fire extinguishers. Make sure they're not used in a house fire because of the electrocution issues. Fire blankets, really handy bit of gear too, and based in your kitchen, mainly around cooking fires, but then they can be used if somebody is on fire themselves, but they take away the oxygen. So we will go out into the kitchen and outside and discuss fire extinguishers and how they use them, but it is a pretty simple process of just pulling the pin, activating the handle and just working the base of the fire. Righto folks, so we're going to grab the fire blanket here and the fire extinguisher, and we're going to go outside and demonstrate how to use them. So the first thing you do is you've got your right fire extinguisher, so you need to pull this pin. That activates your trigger lever now. So the idea with the fire extinguisher is you always aim at the base of the flames and pull the trigger and sweep. So these are the fire blankets, as we've explained a bit earlier. They should be in all residential houses. The beauty of these things is they're quick and they're easy, no mess. And what it does is actually take away the oxygen from a fire. So you can actually use these on cooking fires if we've got flames above your stovetops. It's also if you've got somebody that's burning on fire, we can actually wrap them in this too. So we're basically here to take the oxygen away. So this should be mounted in, if you're at university and that sort of thing, take a couple of minutes to find out where your fire extinguishers are and your fire blankets, because it could come in handy in an emergency situation. So what we basically do is unclip, and then the two tabs down the bottom, we pull them out, and then we actually use these tabs to hold on to. So we've got, our hands are covered, and you can see how big this fire blanket is, and then try not to panic, and then you're basically going to go over the stove top like that and smother it. So that there has taken away all the oxygen, and the fire will go out. We're just going to discuss a couple of the points of a house fire situation. Really important that you try to remain calm as you can, because it may be a bit stressful, but the key points is not to panic. Make sure you close the doors as you're leaving, and that limits the rate of spread in the fire. Make sure that you've all accounted for. Try to get outside to a meeting point like the mailbox or something like that. Don't go back in. A lot of people that do rush back in overcome by the flames and the smoke, so make sure you stay outside and call 000 and let the experts deal with the fire itself. Thanks very much everyone for taking time and listen. Just wanted to reinforce a couple of the important parts on home fire safety. So a really important one for you guys is not to charge your phones and any equipment on your beds, on your couches and all that sort of thing. Make sure they're on hard surfaces. Your heaters, remember 1 metre from the heater, and once you actually leave the area, turn them off please. Another big one is what you actually do with your fire extinguishers and your fire blankets. They can save lives and property, so just understanding how they actually work and where they are situated in your residence is really important. Cleanliness of your smoke alarms and maintaining the battery, because they generally, nighttime, for example, if there is a fire, you may be asleep. So with the smoke rising, they're the first indicators that there is something wrong. So maintaining your smoke alarms is really important. Be careful when you're actually charging your lithium batteries, making sure that if you are going to leave, turn them off, come back, and then you can charge them up again. Big thing though, if there is a house fire, is try not to panic, get to safety and call 000. Thanks everyone.